All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. And as I continue to barrel through the division by division breakdowns for the upcoming 2024 NFL season, I want to take this time out right now to discuss all things in the NFC West. Now, this division has been won by the San Francisco 49ers in 3 out of the last 5 years, which includes the last 2. And the Niners are looking to make it 3 in a row. And of course, if you're the 49ers, you definitely have bigger fish to fry as you're looking to be the last team standing come January. And like I said, in recent years for the 49ers, it's been so close yet so far, as they've been within an eyelash of winning the whole kit and caboodle, but they just haven't been able to get it done. So you ask yourself, is this going to be the Niners' year to get over the hump, or will they simply continue to be next year's champs? You look at this thing, and more, it's Brock Purdy's team now, as we've seen this young man take over on a team that's full of stars. And the bottom line is Brock Purdy saying, you know what, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give you an opportunity to win ball games. You saw him last year in his first full year as starter. He passed for more than 4,000 yards. He was in the MVP conversation, 31 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. And let's see what this young man can do this year. You've got the total package at running back, and I'm talking about Christian McCaffrey, still one of the best in the game as far as being able to be a runner and a receiver. Then you look at the fullback position. Yes, the San Francisco 49ers, they still employ a fullback in Kyle Juszczyk. And he's one of those guys, he's a blocking fullback. He's also one of those guys at the end of the day, if you don't pay attention to him, he can get you in both the running game and as a receiver. Some questions for me at the wide receiver position. First and foremost, the Brandon Ayuk situation. Ayuk has become a hold in. He's on the Pittsburgh Steelers radar. The Steelers want Brandon Ayuk. The 49ers are trying to get a deal worked out for him. Will it happen? I mean, you got Jawan Jennings, you got Debo Samuel, and Debo, in recent years has not been the Debo that we've seen in the past. So with that said, I think if you're the 49ers and you're serious about going back and ultimately winning the Super Bowl, you want to get this thing done with Brandon Ayuk. You still got George Kittle, arguably one of, if not the best tight ends in the National Football League, a matchup nightmare. And then questions on the offensive line as well. Trent Williams is not reported yet, as he is looking for a new deal. Will San Francisco get that done? Defensively for the 49ers, you've got Nick Sorensen, who's taking over for the departed Steve Wilks. And of course, Wilks was fired following the 49ers loss in the Super Bowl to Kansas City. Nonetheless, it was a situation where you want somebody who theoretically is on the same page with your defense. And that's something that the 49ers are hopeful is going to happen with Sorensen in comparison to Steve Wilks. Still a lot of talent there. You got Nick Bosa, one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. You've got Fred Warner, arguably the best middle linebacker going right now. And then, of course, outside linebacker Dre Greenlaw. How healthy is he going to be? We saw him suffer that Achilles injury in the Super Bowl. And of course, most of us feel that if Greenlaw didn't go down, we're talking a different thing with the 49ers as far as that game goes. So you look at San Francisco, and it's going to be interesting to see, will they still be able to rock and roll in the West? They've won this division in each of the last 2 years. They are the favorite, but they still have to go out there and take care of their business on Sundays. Then you've got the Los Angeles Rams, okay? And 2023 was supposed to be a rebuilding year for the Rams, but they still managed to win 10 games while also earning a postseason berth. Now, for Rams head coach Sean McVay, he knows how to roll with the punches, and it's going to be interesting to see what he and his Rams have in store for 2024. Easier said than done. Much easier said than done, okay? Because the Rams have to go out there and they got to try to replace a legend. And you simply don't replace guys like Aaron Donald because they're first ballot Hall of Famers, and they're first ballot Hall of Famers for a reason. You're talking about a guy in Donald who had 111 career sacks in 10 years with the Rams. But when you think about Aaron Donald, it's kind of like that old school Joe Green factor for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not just about the sacks, it's about the attention that he warranted the attention that he warranted, how it opened things up for other defenders, okay? Because we consistently saw Aaron Donald get doubled and triple team. So clearly that opened up things for other guys on that defense as well. The Rams, it's going to be easier said than done as far as replacing a guy like that. You've also have to, if you're the Rams, you also have to replace defensive coordinator Raheem Morris as he's now the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. So that means LA is going with Chris Schuler. We saw the Rams sign former Buffalo Bills Pro Bowl cornerback Tre'Davious White, but will he be able to stay healthy? All right. Offensively for the Rams, you've got veteran quarterback Matt Stafford, who, if he has a good year, he's going to reach 60,000 career passing yards. We saw Kyron Williams get more than 1,100 yards on the ground last year, and I think the running game is going to once again be important for this Rams team. They drafted Blake Corum, the former Michigan running back, and of course, if you watch Corum play collegiately, he was the heart and soul for the Wolverines over the last few years. And then they picked up former Philadelphia Eagle Boston Scott, who always managed to have his best game of the season against the New York Giants. So you got Puka Nakua, phenomenal rookie year at wide receiver. People in fantasy football loved him. And I call him Cooper Cup 2.0. Will he be able to build off of that strong rookie campaign and avoid the coveted sophomore jinx? Cooper Cup, will he be able to stay healthy this year? Of course, he was so important and he was so lights out for the Rams during their Super Bowl run a couple of years ago. But since then, he's only been able to appear in 21 games over the last 2 years. So it's one of those where not a lot was expected from the Rams last year, and I think they overachieved. And I think they could possibly be in that category again this year because it's going to be a little bit tougher for them defensively without the services of Aaron Donald. Now, up in the Pacific Northwest, things are going to look a lot different this year for the Seattle Seahawks when they begin the season. Why? Because for the first time in 14 years, Pete Carroll is not their head coach as he was let go by the Seahawks and he made way for former Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald. Now, last year with the Ravens, Macdonald coordinated one of the top defenses in the National Football League, and he's definitely going to bring some of that with him to Seattle. Offensively for the Seahawks, you've got veteran Geno Smith, okay, and he has played rather the best ball of his NFL career in recent years. You got running backs Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III. Keeping them healthy is going to be key for the Seattle offense. And if the Seahawks can get the running game going, I really like their trio of receivers in DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and I expect Jackson Smith and Jingba to have a bigger sophomore season in the NFL than he did for his rookie campaign. So for Seattle, I think they're going to be up and down at times, but I'm really interested to see how the transition works out for them as they transition from Pete Carroll to Mike Macdonald. And finally, there's the Arizona Cardinals. And as expected for the Birds, 2023 was a tough one, but the future could be bright for them. Last year we saw Arizona lose 4 games by 5 points or less. And of course, they did not have the services of quarterback Kyler Murray for the entire year as he was recovering from that knee injury. But I think the expectations for the Cardinals are going to be higher this time around. Number one, you've got a healthy Kyler Murray at quarterback, and that's going to be key. And we got to see him get his sea legs back, if you will, during the second half of last season. On top of that, the first round pick of the Arizona Cardinals, a two-time All-American and the Bolitnikoff Award winner. I'm talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. In a wide receiver deep class, he might have been the best of the bunch. And of course, if you know about the Harrison family, Marvin Harrison Sr. was no slouch either. That's why he has a bust in Canton as we speak. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has the ability to be one of, if the top, if not the top rookies in this class for 2024. That's how good he is. And a lot of people are high on the combination of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray. You can put me on that bandwagon as well. But again, you've got to protect Kyler Murray. Why? Because so far, since he came into the NFL in 2019, already Kyler Murray has been sacked 149 times. And once you double that, basically by the amount of times that he's gotten hit, either from dropping back in the pass or in the pocket, rather, or taking off, you're talking about close to 300 hits that this young man has endured so far. You got to keep him clean and you got to keep him upright. Strong running game for the Cardinals. James Conner had more than 1,000 yards last year for the first time in his NFL career, and he is once again going to be important for this Cardinals offense. Defensively, Arizona must improve as they were 25th in the NFL last year in defense. You got strong safety Buda Baker. How long will he remain with that team is going to be very important. But for Jonathan Gannon and his bunch, we saw the Cardinals be a very game team last year. And I think that's a very positive sign for Jonathan Gannon's bunch. And let's see, with a healthy Kyler Murray and now with the services of Marvin Harrison, can the Birds take that next step and make a run at a postseason bid? But for me, at the end of the day, I still believe that the division crown for the NFC West goes through Northern California. I think that the 49ers are still the most complete team in this division. I think both the Cardinals and the Seahawks are, and actually, well, for what it's worth, the Cardinals, Seahawks, and Rams are all three teams that are in transition. The Rams are, they have a tough task defensively trying to replace Aaron Donald. The Seahawks, you're shifting from one head coach, and not just a head coach that has been there for more than a decade in Pete Carroll. And then you have the Arizona Cardinals as well. So I see three teams trying to get, you know, their act together, so to speak. And then you got the 49ers. The 49ers are the most complete team in this division. They've still got some work cut out for them because, number one, they have to get the Brandon Ayuk situation taken care of, and they also have to get things taken care of for Trent Williams. A lot of talent on this 49ers team. They're good enough to win this division. They're good enough to make another deep run into the postseason. But of course, if you're the 49ers, after being so close in so many recent years, will you be able to take that next step and finally get over that hump and get that sixth Lombardi trophy? We got to wait and see. But nonetheless, in regards to this division, I am once again going with the San Francisco 49ers to win the NFC West. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365 that you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Also, be sure to check out this channel tomorrow as I will continue to my division by division breakdown for the upcoming NFL season. As tomorrow on the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge channel, it will be all things in the AFC South. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.